Good morning, everybody, and thanks for having me here. Um, let me just share really quick. Uh, let me see. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
we can see your screen. Yep.
Excellent. First of all, congrats to all of you for being here, for creating a network and community that you can be in conversation with one another. How incredible. So I am here truly with two hats, if you will, which was I like to say. The first is my hat as being a professor and academic. I'm the Dana J. Johnson Professor of Leadership at the University of Delaware in the business school. I study leadership, I study organizations, and I want to say two words about my research. And I'm also here with the other hat of I am the director, the founder and faculty director of our Women's Leadership Initiative at UD, and want to say just a word about that. Could I just invite you all briefly to just put in, those of you that are here with us online, can you just put in the chat where you are located, what companies you're at, where you're coming from, what organizations you're at, just so I have a sense, because I know that here in Delaware, at least, we've connected with many of your organizations, done some work with many of you. So if you can, Nemours, a bunch of Nemours, UD, hello, UD, nice to see all the UD people. Christiana. Well, if I have any kind of heart failure while on this line, I know I'm in good shape, or any kind of medical breakdown. Nemours, a lot of Nemours, fabulous. And some UD and some Christiana. We have definitely worked with your organizations. And so I want to just say, so I have three big ideas that I want to share in 5 minutes or less. And here they are. The first idea is, I know many of you are here as scientists, as hard scientists doing science work. I am here as a social scientist, and I want to make a case for how social science partners with is interdependent with science to get stuff done in the world, to make sure that ideas are developed, enabled, and get out in the world. And so I want to just make an argument for that and how that works. Number two, I want to share with you at the highest level the research that I do and how that informs that partnership and conversation. And in that point, what I'm going to argue is that the way that we tend to think about the world, about the challenges that we face, both in science and in the organization of science, is limited at best and detrimental at worst. And number three, I'm going to do a perhaps paid political announcement or just an advertisement of what we do at the Women's Leadership Initiative at UD, to the extent that those of you that are interested want to partner and engage with us. So here's the first big idea. Anyone know who this is? Anyone want to pop in the chat who that might be? Any thoughts? Anyone see him? Anyone want to guess? Churchill. It's a good guess. Elizabeth, thank you for starting us off there. Churchill. No. Anyone else want to pop something in the chat? All right, well, given that we only have a couple minutes, I am going to, so this is Tom Watson Jr., founder of IBM, sitting underneath his famous sign that says, think, because IBM would hire the smartest people out of college, out of grad school, give them a job for life in particularly technology and technology advancement. This I am sharing in part because my dissertation was all about IBM and how, despite the fact that they had some of the greatest scientists, some of the greatest technologists, some of the greatest engineers in the world, they were in the 1990s one of the first companies that was too big to fail. They failed significantly in the 1990s because what happened was that despite the fact that they had the technology to move in the technological revolution between the mainframe computer into what we now know as the PC, or what they call the microcomputer, the desktop. They couldn't do it because they couldn't organize around it compared with the Dells and the Apples and all of the new startups in the world. And what I was studying was how it is not that they develop the technology, but how they develop the technology in a way that enables them to get it out into the world and be able to survive and succeed. And part of that challenge is that they faced some significant tensions between what they were always doing and what they needed to do in the future, the past and the future, the existing world and the future. The core of my research that I've been doing for the last 25 years looks at this very question of how we face those kinds of tensions between today and tomorrow, between what we do and what we want to do going forward, between navigating for a social mission and value and purpose and impact and the bottom line, between navigating between something that needs to be local and something that needs to be global. I look at all of these tensions and the way we face them, whether they are organizational challenges at the strategic level, leadership challenges of how we navigate with both competency and compassion. I look at personal challenges like how we deal with the ongoing tensions between work and life. I look at all of these, and the issue, and this is the bottom line, folks, I'm going to skip to 25 years of the bottom line, is that the way we tend to deal with competing demands, opposing ideas, psychologically, cognitively, behaviorally, I can get into, well, I won't get into the depth of the science around this, but the science tells us a variety of reasons why we deal with these as an either or. We have to choose between today and tomorrow, the social and the financial, work and life. And that is our typical natural approach. And what we find on an ongoing basis on our research is that that approach is limited at best and detrimental at worst. And so because we have 5 minutes, here's the bottom line. We lean into a theoretical lens that is not new. It's 2,500 years old. It's popping up in things like quantum physics or psychoanalysis. It is only in the last 20 years or so been popping up in how we think about organizations, which is to say that truly we tend to think of our decisions in a linear way where we have to choose between them, but underlying our decisions is a theoretical lens of paradoxes in which we have opposing ideas that are not just in opposition, they're also interdependent, the yin and the yang, the yes and the no, the I'm feeling great today, Julianne, and I'm feeling crappy today. And the and could be the powerful tool in which we can think more holistically so that these tensions, these verses, these either ors become ands. And the question we ask is, how do you lead around that? I'm going to pause there because in 5 minutes, it's really hard to talk about 25 years of research, my co-author and I, my colleague and I, have built that research into a book targeted beyond the research papers, which I'm happy to send along, targeted to the broader markets. And I have been spending the last year, and I've actually come into some of your organizations talking about what it looks like for us to change our mindsets as leaders in our organizations personally to move from the either or to the both and. So here is the book, and I'm happy to talk more about it. But we also have started a newsletter that you are welcome to follow us on, in which we unpack those ideas. So here the argument, or what I want to suggest, is that what we do in the social sciences is about taking the amazing ideas of what you do in science and figuring out, helping you, partnering with you about how to deepen the creativity, the innovation, the teams, and then figuring out how to implement the organizational structures to get it out there in the world. And that the way we've been doing it has been this either or, and invite us into this both and. I want to just say one thing about in this other hat, and then I'll pause. But to the extent that this is really just the appetizers or the quick hits about the work that I do in the Women's Leadership Initiative, the work we do is really about the idea that there's big problems to solve in the world, and we will only get those problems solved if we value all the voices that come to the table in those problems, in those issues. And that means for us valuing across the contributions of gender, supporting women to be there at their best, and supporting men to know how to value and engage with women more effectively. That's the work we do. Here it's the both and of supporting both the students on campus, but also executives, and creating the interdependence between the students and executives. And so We have an incredible program for students that help our students to be their best selves by bringing executives onto campus. If you're interested and want to join us, we welcome that. We welcome men and women to be mentors and support the women on campus to be their best self and get their best jobs. We also have 2 programs for executives, and I'm going to say this super quick. One is an online program, and one is an in-person program. This is absolutely my favorite thing to do in the entire world. And here I am years ago in the same jacket I'm wearing now. Look at that. Who knew? And this program is the in-person program is a 3-day program, incredibly exciting energy where we are teaching leadership skills to women that are the same leadership skills we would be teaching to anybody, but that changes the conversations in the room when we advance those conversations. Our goal is to help women that are 5 to 10 years in middle management, perhaps, that are looking to advance their leadership journey, both clarify where they're going and develop the skills to get there. So I think, and Julianne, 5 minutes is so hard, but I think that's where I'm going to pause and here end with coming back around circle to Thomas Watson Jr. This is Ginny Rometty. She is the most recent past CEO of IBM, wrote this book, Good Power, that came out last year, and leaning into this idea that, quote, instead of insisting on either X or Y, I have seen how much more is achieved in leadership in her organization beyond when we consider X and Y. And therein lies the heart of my research. So I'm going to pause there and turn it back over to all of you.